"Leave that seat now, or security will drag you out." The venomous words strike Marcus Freeman, a black CEO, as he sits rightfully in first class at Dallas International Airport. A white passenger's sneer and the flight crew's cold compliance burn like a betrayal of justice. Yet, with one phone call, Freeman unleashes a tempest, grounding 4 airlines in a billion-dollar reckoning. The skies, his domain, bow to his righteous fury. Have you faced such injustice? Stay with us to witness how one man's stand for dignity shakes an industry to its core. Marcus stood in the humming heart of Dallas International Airport, his Morehouse sweatshirt a quiet rebellion against the suits swirling around him. A black man, 45, with eyes that held both wisdom and weariness. He was no ordinary traveler. Marcus was the architect of the skies, the mind behind SkySync Technologies, a company that wove the invisible threads of aviation schedules. Safety, efficiency bowing to his code. His software slashed delays by 40%, saved millions in fuel, and lifted 400 souls into jobs at his firm. Yet, as he approached the gate, a TSA agent's gaze lingered too long, a silent question in her eyes. "Your ID, sir," she said, her tone sharp as a winter wind. Marcus complied, his calm a shield forged in countless such moments. Born in Houston's sun-soaked streets, Marcus was the son of a mechanic, Joseph, who taught him to build circuits before he could ride a bike. "Son, your hands can shape the future," Joseph would say, their late-night tinkering lit by a single bulb. His mother, Clara, a librarian, poured courage into his heart. "Your mind is your wings, Marcus. Let no one clip them," she whispered each dawn, her voice a melody of moral might. Those words carried him to MIT, where a scholarship became his ladder to the stars. But the world was not kind. "MIT? Impressive. For you," a recruiter once sneered, the sting of prejudice a constant companion. Undeterred, Marcus poured his soul into SkySync, starting with $50,000 scraped from savings, his one-bedroom apartment a cradle for dreams that now held the skies. In Dallas, Marcus moved through the terminal, his carry-on light, his laptop bag heavy with the tools of his trade. The first-class lounge welcomed him with polished smiles, but the receptionist's pause spoke volumes. "Identification, please," she said, though the man before him, white and suited, passed with only a nod. Marcus offered his license, his dignity a quiet fortress. Inside, he settled in a corner, reviewing Seattle-bound plans, his fingers dancing across keys that controlled an industry. Yet, the glances of fellow patrons curious, cautious reminded him. No achievement could fully shield him. The skies he mastered were free, but the earth below still bound him in chains of suspicion. Marcus's journey was not just his own. At SkySync, he built a tapestry of talent men and women of every hue, hired for their brilliance, not their appearance. He mentored young coders in Houston's community centers, their eager faces mirroring his own at 10. "Dream big, work hard," he told them, his voice warm as a summer breeze. Weekends found him at barbecues with his team, laughter mingling with the scent of smoked brisket, a slice of American unity he cherished. His wife, Dr. Lena Harris, a cardiologist, and their children, Maya and Noah, were his anchor. "You're changing the world, Daddy," Maya, 16, said at dinner, her pride a beacon in his heart. Noah, 12, nodded, his quiet strength a mirror of Marcus's own. As he stood at the gate, boarding pass in hand, Marcus felt the weight of his legacy. SkySync's software was the pulse of 4 major airlines, a symphony of code that kept planes aloft and passengers safe. Yet the agent's double take, the subtle shift in her posture, whispered a truth he knew too well. To some, he was not the architect of anything, just a man whose place was always in question. His mother's words echoed, "Your mind is your wings." Marcus straightened, his resolve aflame unquenched. Little did he know, this flight would test not just his patience, but the very power he held over the heavens. Before diving into the story, please clearly state your city or country of residence in the comments section. Your feedback is the driving force for our development. Best wishes from Asia. As Marcus Freeman's resolve steadied him at the gate, the jetway to Flight 3912 beckoned, a path to Seattle, and destiny's cruel twist. He stepped aboard, his Morehouse sweatshirt a quiet emblem of pride, and settled into first-class seat 1A. The cabin hummed with pre-flight rituals, clinking glasses, rustling papers, but Marcus focused on his laptop, refining SkySync's latest algorithm. His mind, a soaring eagle, crafted code that kept the skies alive. Yet the world below was about to remind him. No seat, no matter how earned, could shield him from prejudice's venomous bite. The flight attendant, Sarah Jenkins, greeted passengers with a practiced smile. "First class to the left, sir," she said to Marcus, her tone clipped, eyes flickering with doubt. He nodded, storing his carry-on, his calm a fortress against her unspoken question. Other passengers boarded, their glances quick but sharp, like needles pricking his skin. "Is he supposed to be here?" a woman whispered to her companion, her voice a dagger cloaked in curiosity. Marcus ignored it, his mantra steady. But the air grew heavy when Ethan Caldwell entered, a white executive in a tailored suit, his phone call loud, his presence commanding. "I need that deal closed by tonight," he barked. Striding toward row 1, Caldwell stopped, his eyes locking on Marcus. "This is my seat," he declared, loud enough for the cabin to hush. Jenkins hurried over, her smile tightening. "Sir, may I see your boarding pass?" she asked Marcus, ignoring Caldwell's outstretched ticket. Marcus presented his phone. The digital pass clear. 1A. Purchased months ago. "It's correct," he said, his voice even, a river unmoved by stones. Caldwell's face reddened. "I'm a Diamond member. I always get 1A or 1B, he snapped, gesturing at Marcus. "There's been a mistake." The cabin watched, a theater of silent judges. A teenager across the aisle clutched her phone, her eyes wide with unease. Jenkins hesitated, then turned to Marcus. "Sir, could you provide a physical boarding pass?" Her words, polite but pointed, cut like a hidden blade. "I checked in online," Marcus replied, his composure a shield. Another attendant, Emily Holt, joined, her expression cold. "Mr. Caldwell's a valued member. We can offer you economy plus extra legroom," she said, as if offering charity. Marcus's chest tightened, the sting of indignity flaring. "I purchased this seat. I'm staying," he said, his voice firm, a mountain unmoved. The teenager whispered to her mother. "This isn't right," her voice a faint spark of justice in the growing storm. Caldwell loomed in the aisle, his impatience a gathering thundercloud. "This is ridiculous. I was promised an upgrade," he shouted. The cabin speaker crackled. "Ladies and gentlemen, Captain Daniel Pierce here. We're delayed due to a seating issue. Please bear with us," the voice announced, each word a weight on Marcus's shoulders. Holt leaned in, her tone hardening. "Sir, we need to depart. Will you move?" Marcus met her gaze, his resolve a blazing fire. "I'm in my assigned seat." "I've done nothing wrong," he said, each word a hammer striking prejudice's anvil. A man in row 3 muttered, "Just go to economy where you belong." The words a poison seeping into the air. The situation spiraled. Jenkins returned with an air marshal, his badge glinting like a warning. "Sir, comply with the crew," he said, hand on his holster. Marcus's heart raced, but his voice remained steady. "I'm complying with all safety rules. I'm being asked to give up my seat for another passenger's preference," he said, pulling out his phone to record. "Put that away," the marshal barked. Caldwell scoffed. "Just move him so we can fly." The teenager's mother shushed her daughter's protest, but her eyes betrayed shame. Captain Pierce emerged, his face stern. "As captain, I can remove disruptive passengers. Move, or you're off," he ordered. Marcus's voice, calm but unyielding, cut through the tension. "I'm not disruptive. I'm defending my rights." Pierce's jaw clenched. "Remove him," he said, The marshal and Holt gripped Marcus's arms, their force a violation of his dignity. His phone fell, but the teenager snatched it, recording as Marcus was escorted down the jetway. His luggage was thrust at him, searched with rough hands. Alone, Marcus stood, the door closing behind him, the muffled announcement calling his removal a security matter. Prejudice had won this battle, but the war was far from over. How's your water intake today? Drink 2 liters daily to stay sharp like Marcus in this fight. Share your thoughts below, and let's keep this story soaring. The jetway door slammed shut behind Marcus Freeman, sealing him in a silence louder than the injustice that had cast him out. Alone, his heart pounded, not with fear, but with a fire kindled by decades of swallowed slights. The memory of his forcible removal from Flight 3912, his rightful seat stolen to appease Ethan Caldwell's arrogance burned like a wound. Yet, in this solitary moment, Marcus felt the stirrings of defiance, a resolve as unyielding as the steel beneath his feet. The skies he commanded through SkySync Technologies were his domain, and those who had humiliated him would soon learn the weight of their error. His mind drifted to a Houston summer, his mother Clara's voice soft but fierce as she recounted yielding her bus seat to a white passenger. "We moved, Marcus, not because we were weak, but because we were wise," she had said, her eyes a tapestry of pain and pride. "Choose your battles, but never your surrender." That lesson, etched in his soul, now roared to life. The flight crew's disdain, the passengers' whispers, the air marshal's grip, they thought him powerless, a man to be moved. But Marcus was no longer the boy on that bus. He was a conductor of the heavens, and his symphony of justice was about to begin. With deliberate calm, Marcus retrieved his phone, the recording intact 8 minutes of undeniable truth. His fingers trembled, not with rage, but with purpose. He dialed Rachel Wynn, his chief operating officer, her voice a lifeline in the storm. "Marcus, are you safe?" she asked, concern cutting through the static. "Physically, yes," he replied, his tone steady. "A river carving through stone. But they removed me from my seat, Rachel, for a white passenger who wanted it. I need options." Rachel's pause was brief, her mind as sharp as his. "We can fight this legally, but SkySync gives us leverage. Your call." Quote. Marcus paced the jetway, his steps echoing like a metronome of resolve. "We go strategic," he said, his voice low, a forge shaping iron. 4 phases. First, we leak my identity to the press. Let the world know who they targeted. Second, initiate system glitches small, noticeable, but not crippling. Third, partial shutdown of their operations. Fourth, if they don't yield, we ground their fleets. Rachel inhaled sharply. "That's a sledgehammer, Marcus. Millions will feel it." He nodded, though she couldn't see. "So will the system that allows this. They need to feel the cost of prejudice." Their plan unfolded like a chessboard in his mind. Phase 1 would wield truth as a blade, exposing the airline's shame. Phase 2 would slow their pulse. SkySync software, the heartbeat of 4 carriers, could falter just enough to sting. Phase 3 would tighten the noose, limiting flights to a crawl. Phase 4, the final gambit, would silence the skies, a reckoning for every black traveler humiliated in silence. Marcus's thoughts flashed to his children, Maya and Noah, their faces a beacon. "What will they learn if I stay silent?" he murmured, his resolve a mountain against the wind. Rachel's voice broke his reverie. "The team's behind you. We've seen you fight for ushering us, for talent, not appearances. Say the word." Marcus closed his eyes, a memory surfacing. A college admissions officer, years ago, dismissing his application with a smirk. "You're not our type," the man had said, the rejection a scar Marcus turned into fuel. "The word is given," he told Rachel. "Start with the leak. Contact the New York Times. Tell them who I am and what happened." Her response was swift. "It's done. This is bigger than us now." Marcus stood at the jetway's end, the terminal's chaos a distant hum. His phone buzzed a text from his wife, Lena. "Landed yet? Kids miss you." He typed a reply, fingers steady. Not yet. Something's come up. I'm okay. But okay was a lie. He was a phoenix. Wings scorched but rising, ready to burn away the veil of injustice. The airline had no idea who they'd cast aside. They thought him a passenger, a nuisance. They were wrong. He was Marcus Freeman, and his power could hush the heavens. As he stepped into the terminal, his heart sang a vow. This battle, he would not lose. Marcus Freeman's vow in the jetway ignited a spark that would set the aviation world ablaze. As he stepped into the terminal, his phone still warm from his call with Rachel Nguyen, the wheels of justice began to turn. The New York Times received his story, and with it, the truth of his humiliation on Flight 3912, a black CEO ousted from his rightful seat for Ethan Caldwell's entitlement. Marcus's plan, a symphony of strategy, was now in motion. Phase 1 would wield truth like a sword, slashing through the airline's veil of denial, and the skies would soon tremble under the weight of his resolve. The article hit like a thunderclap. Black CEO removed from first class for white passenger, blared the headline. The hashtag #SkyHighWhileBlack surging across social media. Terminals buzzed with outrage, screens flashing the grainy video of Marcus's removal. His calm defiance a beacon in the storm. Passengers shared their own tales of Prejudicegate agents' sneers. Security's heavy hand siege posed a brick in a growing wall of dissent. Marcus, now at an airport hotel, watched the tide turn, his phone alight with notifications. "They're waking up," he murmured, his heart a drumbeat of hope and fury. Yet, the airline's response was a cold slap. A $500 voucher. No apology, no acknowledgement of the racial wound inflicted. CEO Robert Hayes sat in his office, scrolling through reports, his brow furrowed. Just another complainer, he told his team, dismissing Marcus as a nuisance. Offer the standard package, this'll blow over. But the glitches began phase 2 of Marcus's plan. SkySync software, the lifeblood of 4 airlines, stuttered. Reservations lagged by 25%. Boarding passes printed in fits and starts. Gate agents scrambled. At airports nationwide, lines snaked through concourses, travelers' voices rising in frustration. A single mother, clutching her toddler, tweeted, "Missed my mom's surgery because of these delays. Fix this." Her words pierced Marcus, a reminder of the cost, but he steeled himself. "Change demands sacrifice," he whispered, his resolve a fortress. The chaos grew, a wildfire fed by Marcus's code. Help desks drowned in complaints. IT teams found no internal faults. The source was SkySync, a ghost in their machines. Marcus monitored from his hotel, his laptop a war room. Social media pulsed with SkyHighWhileBlack, a chorus of voices chanting, "Justice, justice." A retired teacher posted, "I saw this in the 60s. It's time to stand." Marcus's chest swelled, the weight of history on his shoulders. He recalled a high school debate, his voice silenced by a judge's bias, the memory fueling his fire. Not this time, he vowed, his fingers poised to escalate. Hayes' team, now rattled, offered $1,500 in vouchers, their email sterile, devoid of remorse. Marcus read it, his jaw tight. "They still don't see," he told Rachel over a secure call. "Phase 3 now." Rachel's voice was steady. "This'll hurt, Marcus. Airports are already a mess." He nodded, unseen. "So is a system that discards us. Let them feel it." The glitches deepened. Seat assignments froze. Schedules unraveled. Departure boards flickered. Red delayed notices spreading like bloodstains. A businessman in a suit shouted, "This is chaos," as his flight vanished from the screen. The airlines, giants of steel and sky, stumbled, their arrogance crumbling under Marcus's righteous hand. Public outrage swelled, a tidal wave crashing over corporate shores. Newsrooms buzzed, anchors dissecting the video, captions reading, "Discrimination sparks airline crisis." Marcus's identity as SkySync's CEO sent shockwaves through financial markets. The airline stocks dipping 10% by noon. Hayes' assistant burst in, pale. "Sir, it's Dr. Freeman. He runs SkySync." Hayes' face drained, the truth a hammer to his complacency. "Get me his file," he barked, but it was too late. Marcus's plan was a storm. And Phase 4, Lumita full grounding. A silence to deafen the skies. The world watched, breathless, as one man's stand shook an industry to its core. Marcus sat alone, the hotel room dim, a family photo on his screen, Lena, Maya, Noah, their smiles a lighthouse in the tempest. "What will you think of me?" he whispered, doubt creeping like ivy. But Maya's words echoed. "You're our hero." He straightened, his purpose a blazing star. The airlines had underestimated him, blind to the power of a man wronged. Tomorrow they would learn. Tomorrow the skies would fall silent. Feeling the tension? Get 8 hours of sleep tonight to stay strong, like Marcus's resolve. Share your thoughts below. And let's keep this story soaring. Marcus Freeman's resolve, a blazing star in the dim hotel room, set the stage for a reckoning that would silence the skies. As the world reeled from the chaos of Phase 3 schedules unraveling, terminals choked with stranded travelers, Marcus authorized the final, devastating blow. Phase 4, the Great Grounding, would halt 4 airlines, a thunderous proclamation of justice. The airlines, blind to his power, had dismissed him with vouchers and denials. Now, they would face the full weight of their prejudice, as Marcus's code turned their steel giants into silent relics of a broken system. The grounding struck like a tempest. At airports across the nation, departure boards glowed red, every flight canceled. A sea of delayed transformed into a graveyard of dreams. Passengers, weary and desperate, crowded counters, their voices a cacophony of frustration. A nurse, tears in her eyes, pleaded, "I need to get to my patient." Her cry echoed in Marcus's heart, a shard of doubt piercing his resolve. He monitored the chaos from his hotel. Screens flashing with news reports. Airline crisis cripples nation. Losses at $6 million an hour. The skies, once vibrant with motion, stood still. A silent battlefield where justice clashed with consequence. Marcus's phone buzzed with threats, anonymous voices on social media spitting venom. "You're ruining lives!" one message screamed. He scrolled past, his jaw tight, but the weight of their anger pressed hard. A memory surfaced, his daughter Maya's voice, fierce and proud. "You're our hero, Daddy." He clung to it, a lifeline in the storm. Noah's quiet nod, Lena's unwavering support, they were why he fought. "This is for them," he whispered. His purpose, a lighthouse against the tide of doubt. Yet the cost was undeniable. Families stranded, weddings postponed. A nation held hostage by his stand. The airlines staggered, their arrogance crumbling. CEO Robert Hayes faced a furious board, their voices sharp as blades. "You let this happen!" the chairman roared, slamming the table. "Freeman controls our systems!" Hayes, ashen, stammered. "I thought he was just a passenger." His ignorance was a noose, tightening as stocks plummeted 25%, trading halted in a financial freefall. Flight attendants Sarah Jenkins and Emily Holt were suspended, their names trending in disgrace. Ethan Caldwell, the spark of this inferno, faced ruin. His firm issued a statement, suspending him, their brand scorched by his entitlement. Outside airline headquarters, protests swelled, signs waving. Justice for Freeman. A pilot, haunted by his silence during Marcus's removal, spoke to reporters. "I should have said something," he confessed, his voice breaking. He was calm, professional. "We failed him." The words reached Marcus, a flicker of validation in the darkness. Social media pulsed with sky-high while black. Stories of discrimination flooding the digital airwaves. A grandmother tweeted, "My grandson was profiled last week. Freeman's fighting for us all." Each post was a brick in a monument to change, but Marcus knew the cost was steep. Inside his hotel, Marcus paced, the family photo on his screen a tether to his why. Lena's text arrived. "Kids are scared but proud. Stay strong." He typed back, "I will." For us, his team at SkySync, loyal and fierce, reported cascading disruptions. "The other airlines are begging for relief," Rachel Mwyn said. "They say it's not their fault." Marcus's voice was iron. "They signed the same contracts. Their systems are linked. They feel this together." He authorized tighter restrictions, allowing only emergency flights. A calculated mercy. Amidst the storm, newsrooms erupted, anchors breathless. "A black CEO's stand grounds airlines," they declared. Split screens showing chaos and Marcus's stoic face. The White House took notice, advisors briefing the president. One man's discrimination claim has paralyzed travel. Congressional leaders demanded investigations, voices rising on Capitol Hill. "This exposes our infrastructure's fragility," a senator said, her tone grave. Marcus, watching, felt the weight of history. His fight was no longer his alone, it was a mirror, reflecting a nation's wounds. As evening fell, Marcus stood at his window, the runways empty, planes frozen like statues of a fallen empire. Doubt whispered, but Maya's words roared louder. "You're our hero." He thought of his mother Clara, her bus seat surrender, a lesson in choosing battles. This was his. The airlines had underestimated him, blind to the phoenix rising from their prejudice. Phase 4 was a clarion call, a demand for accountability. Tomorrow, they would beg for mercy. Tomorrow, they would know Marcus Freeman's name. The silent runways, a testament to Marcus Freeman's unyielding stand, marked a turning point in his battle against prejudice. As the nation grappled with grounded flights and a chorus of voices demanding justice, a new dawn beckoned. Interim CEO Karen Ellison's request for a private meeting reached Marcus, her call a fragile bridge over the chasm of distrust. The chaos of Phase 4 had shaken the airlines to their core, but Marcus sought not destruction, only transformation. With hope tempered by caution, he agreed to meet, his heart a compass guiding him toward a justice that could heal a wounded system. The Dallas Hilton's private dining room was a sanctuary of quiet elegance, its windows framing the still runways. Marcus arrived early, his security detail sweeping the space, their presence a reminder of the threats shadowing his stand. Karen Ellison entered alone, her silver-streaked hair and steady gaze exuding resolve. "Dr. Freeman, thank you for meeting me," she said, her handshake firm, her voice a balm. "What happened to you was indefensible. I'm not here to excuse it." Marcus studied her, searching for artifice, but found only sincerity. "That's a start," he replied, his tone measured, a river seeking its course. Ellison laid a folder on the table, its pages raw with truth. "Our investigation started hours after I took over," she said, sliding it toward him. "Crew statements, unfiltered." Marcus scanned the documents, his breath catching. Sarah Jenkins admitted rushing to judgment. Emily Holt confessed to prioritizing Caldwell's status. Captain Pierce acknowledged his failure to verify. Caldwell's own words chilled him. "I always get what I want." Ellison leaned forward. "This isn't just about one flight. It's a culture we've let fester." Marcus nodded, his silence a canvas for her words to paint. Their dialogue unfolded, a tapestry of accountability woven with care. "I faced bias as a woman in this industry," Ellison shared, her voice soft, eyes distant. "But I see now how race compounds it, a weight I didn't fully grasp." Marcus spoke of the calculations black travelers make when to speak, when to retreat, the constant dance with dignity's edge. "It's exhausting," he said, his words a quiet thunder. "Every glance, every question, a reminder you're seen as less." Ellison listened, her nod a vow to learn. Together, they began to forge a path forward, not with platitudes but with steel. Marcus pushed for structural change. "Training's not enough," he insisted, his voice a forge shaping justice. "You need metrics, audits, technology to catch bias before it strikes." Ellison agreed, proposing a $25 million fund for minority aviation students, a passenger advocacy council with real power. Marcus added, "SkySync can build fairness algorithms, flagging discriminatory patterns in real time." Their plan took shape: a beacon rising from prejudice's ashes, with mandatory training, independent oversight, and a commitment to measurable equity. This could change everything, Ellison said, her eyes bright with possibility. The human cost weighed on Marcus. Stranded families, missed funerals. I feel that, he admitted, his voice cracking. But silence perpetuates this. Ellison nodded. We need your help to restore flights. People are suffering. Marcus considered, his mind flashing to Lena's text. Come home soon. He saw Maya and Noah, their pride his anchor. I'll phase in restoration, he said, if you announce this publicly tomorrow. Ellison extended her hand. You have my word. Press conference at 9. Their handshake was a pact, a bridge from chaos to hope. Marcus reflected on a letter he'd written to Noah, tucked in his bag. Son, we fight for a world where your worth isn't questioned. Ellison's own rise from a small-town clerk to aviation trailblazer echoed his struggle, a shared thread of resilience. As they parted, she paused. You've opened my eyes, Dr. Freeman. I thought I understood justice, but you've shown me its depth. Her words, raw and unguarded, stirred him. Seeing is the first step, he replied, his voice a gentle tide. The path to justice was clear, but its test loomed at dawn. Inspired by Marcus? Exercise 30 minutes daily to keep your strength, like his resolve. Share your thoughts below, and let's keep this story soaring. The handshake between Marcus Freeman and Karen Ellison sealed a pact that promised to reshape the skies. A beacon of justice, rising from the ashes of chaos. As Marcus prepared for the press conference, the weight of his stand grounding 4 airlines to demand accountability settled into a quiet triumph. The runways, once silent, began to hum again, flights lifting off as SkySync's systems restored order. This moment was not an end, but a beginning. A new horizon, where dignity would soar as freely as the planes Marcus's code had set free. The hotel conference room buzzed with anticipation, camera flashes like stars in a dawn sky. Marcus stood beside Ellison, his tie straightened, his heart steady. Ellison stepped to the podium, her voice clear, resolute. 4 days ago, Marcus Freeman was wrongfully removed from his first-class seat on Flight 3912, a victim of racial discrimination. She declared, the room falling silent. This was a failure of our system, our culture, and our values. We are sorry, and we will do better. Her words, unvarnished, were a thunderclap, a corporate confession rare as a desert bloom. She outlined reforms. Sarah Jenkins and Emily Holt terminated. Captain Daniel Pierce suspended. A $25 million fund for minority aviators. And SkySync's fairness algorithms to guard against bias. Marcus took the podium. His presence a mountain of quiet strength. I've faced prejudice my whole life, he began. His voice a river-carving truth, but this time, I had the power to demand change. Not for me alone, but for every traveler who's been diminished, dismissed, dehumanized. The crowd leaned in, his words a hymn of hope. The skies are vast, but they must be just. Today, we plant a seed for equity, a promise that dignity is not a privilege, but a right. Applause erupted, a wave of affirmation washing over him. His heart swelling with purpose fulfilled. Flights resumed, the nation exhaling as travelers reunited with loved ones. SkySync's innovations became the gold standard. Its fairness metrics adopted industry-wide, flagging bias in seating, security, service. Marcus returned to Houston, his team greeting him with cheers, their pride a mirror of his own. At a local NAACP event, he spoke to a packed room, his voice warm, unwavering. We've changed the code of the skies, he said. But the work continues on the ground. His words sparked nods, tears, a community united in the fight for fairness. A Tech Equity Award followed, his name etched in aviation's new chapter. At home, Marcus embraced Lena, Maya, and Noah, their warmth a hearth after the storm. You were incredible, Daddy, Maya said, her eyes bright with pride. Noah, quieter, hugged him tight. You showed them we matter, he whispered. His words a treasure Marcus held close. Over dinner, Lena smiled. The skies feel different now, don't they? Marcus nodded. The memory of their first-class flight to Seattle treated with respect. No glances, no questions, a quiet victory. They're ours now, he said, his voice soft, a prayer answered. The industry transformed, airlines mandating bias training, passenger rights posted at gates. Marcus's mentorship program for minority coders grew, young faces dreaming of skies they'd one day shape. His legacy was a canvas of equality, painted with courage, sacrifice, and code. Yet, he knew the fight wasn't over. Every step forward is a step we hold, he told his team. Their resolve a chorus, echoing his own. The airlines, once giants of indifference, now bowed to a truth Marcus had forced them to see. Justice was non-negotiable. As Marcus looked to the future, the skies above whispered of progress, each plane a testament to a battle won. His stand had cost millions, stirred chaos, but it had birthed a new era where dignity soared. He thought of his mother Clara, her bus seat sacrifice, and smiled. We're flying now, Mama, he murmured, his heart full. The horizon was new, vast, and just, a promise kept for those who'd follow. Marcus Freeman's stand reshaped the skies, painting a new horizon where dignity soared as freely as the planes his code revived. From the ashes of chaos, his fight against prejudice on Flight 3912 birthed a legacy of justice, a testament to the power of one man's resolve. The airlines, once blind to their failures, now flew under a banner of accountability, their reforms a seed planted for generations. Yet, as Marcus stood with his family, gazing at the boundless sky, he knew the journey was far from over. His victory was a beacon, but the path to true equality stretched far beyond the clouds. This story, a tapestry of courage and consequence, speaks to every heart that's felt the sting of injustice. Marcus, a black CEO, faced the same wounds countless others endure, glances that judge, voices that dismiss, systems that diminish. His power to ground 4 airlines was unique, but his spirit is universal, a call to rise against wrong. Stand up, stand tall. His actions whisper, echoing the American dream of fairness forged through struggle. Like a river carving stone, his stand smoothed a path for others, proving that dignity is not a gift bestowed, but a right demanded with unwavering heart. Reflect on this, dear listener. In your own life, where do you see prejudice lurking? In a coworker's sidelong glance, a neighbor's whispered doubt, a policy's hidden bias? Marcus's story teaches us that change begins with seeing, with naming the wrong, with acting, however small. Record a moment of unfairness. Share a story of resilience. Support a local equity initiative. Each step is a brick in the monument of justice, a legacy for your children, your community, your nation. Dignity is a torch we all carry. Marcus's journey proclaims, its flame lit by every voice that dares to speak. The skies now fly fairer, but the ground below still trembles with challenges. Marcus's triumph reminds us that transformation demands disruption, that silence is complicity's ally. Yet it also shows the power of compassion as choice to restore flights. To seek reform over revenge was a bridge to healing. As you board your next flight, notice the faces around you, the stories they carry. Ask yourself, how can I make this space kinder, fairer? Your actions, like Marcus's, can ripple, turning strangers into allies, indifference into hope. Join us in this mission. Share this story with someone who needs its fire. Comment below with your thoughts. Will you stand for dignity? Subscribe for more tales of justice, where ordinary hearts spark extraordinary change. As Marcus boards a flight with Lena, Maya, and Noah, treated as equals, the sky above sings of progress, a star-spangled victory for all who dare to soar. Let's carry this torch together. For dignity is not a privilege, but a right worth fighting for.